The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Oh no! We suck again! Oh.
All right, welcome to Victory Monday, or in this case, not Victory Monday. From No Credentials Required, we are presented by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts. To my right is the man who's the biggest Jets fan in South Florida, Dan Goldstein. Dan, how are we doing tonight?
Oh man, what a day in Jets land! It's been it's been a whirlwind. I don't really know how else to say it. It's been an absolute whirlwind. It's I think a lot of us were asking for this. A lot of us were pining for it, and yet I don't think any one of us actually thought we were going to get it. I mean, this goes against everything Woody Johnson's done in his tenure as an owner, and it should have. There were coaches that to me that were worse than Saleh that should have had this done to them. So I feel bad for the guy. I hope him and his 7 children don't starve. But at the end of the day, it had to be done. I don't really know what else to do. It had to be done.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk more about it in just a second, but I have to do some cleaning up business here. So just a reminder, follow everyone to follow us on social media. It's facebook.com/NoCardsREQ, twitter.com, Instagram, TikTok at NoCardsREQ, youtube.com/@NoCardsREQ. Subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Amazon, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, and get notified on Twitter and on YouTube. Yeah, Twitter, on YouTube. Get notified whenever we go live or whenever we post a video on either of those stations. So I'm having a little bit of trouble with my internet. I'm not really sure why, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to push along. But yeah, subscribe to the podcast on your preferred platform. Leave us a review when you can. 5-star rating would be awesome. You can leave us a review. You can, yes, to the gentleman from Florida.
Panthers scored. I'm sorry. I was cheering while you were going on your rant.
Oh, okay.
I can hear it in the background.
Yes, it's officially night 1 in the NHL.
Yeah, Florida's up 5-1.
And Devils are 2-0. So let's go Devils.
Let's go Panthers.
And Dan's having his Panthers going crazy with the Panthers 5-1 already. And it's game 1. But yes, subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast platform. Don't forget to rate and review if you're on a platform where you can review. If you're on Spotify, you can leave us a comment. So any comment, any of the present or past episodes, you can leave us a comment and we'll be sure to respond. So today we're going to talk about the last couple of games, how the Jets were they were not great, but then we got some breaking-ish news. Well, actually breaking news from this morning that Robert Saleh, the head coach of the New York Jets, was fired by the New York Jets. It was a shocking move, and I'll tell you my story of how I found out. So I was watching/listening to the Jake Asman show. He had Joe Beningo on his show. He has him every Monday, but it was Tuesday since he had gotten back from London, and they were just talking about the game plan, how it was awful, how the offense was sputtering again, how the defense was picking up the slack as usual in the Robert Saleh era. And then all of a sudden, I'm just watching the chat light up. Robert Saleh fired. Saleh fired. Robert Saleh fired. Breaking news. Robert Saleh fired. Then I had to look. Went to Twitter, and sure enough, first thing that comes up in my Twitter feed, Adam Schefter, breaking news, Jets fire Robert Saleh. And I couldn't help it. I texted Dan right away, and I wrote in big capital letters, Robert Saleh fired by Jets. And I didn't get your reaction for a while, but when you heard this news, what was your initial reaction?
Yeah, you caught me in the middle of work when I was doing I was building some estimates, so I had to. My attention, unfortunately, had. Oh, there we go. Man, our internet connection is lagging bad tonight. This is not going to be one of our better technical pods.
Okay.
But what was I saying? Yeah, I was stuck at work. It was my attention had to be put in where it was. So I honestly didn't find out until I read your text message. So I guess I was probably 30 something minutes behind, I guess, by that point already, about the time where I responded to you, because I was doing what I needed to do at work. So that was wild. Yeah, that was wild. Again, I had been very disappointed with Saleh. He said a lot of the right things. He certainly acted as if he had the kind of like the grip in the room, but like they just were not playing up the standard. Like they just were not playing up the standard. And Saleh came in preaching, 1% better every day, 1% better every day. And you just didn't see that. Like you just didn't see it anymore. Mm-hmm. His shtick just kind of got old. And I just, I don't know how much you truly want to blame the offensive struggles on Saleh, but at the end of the day, you're the head coach. Yeah. So you're going to take the grunt of everything. You're the one that needs to be in charge of everything. You're the CEO of the team. So you're the one that has to take, you get the credit when things are going good, and you got to take the blame when things are going bad. That's just the way it is. And, your offensive coordinator was picked basically by you for Aaron Rodgers. You wanted Aaron Rodgers. There was this. You can't blame anybody at this point. I mean, you have one of the best. You theoretically, on paper, have one of the best rosters in the NFL, and you can't figure it out. It comes down to coaching. It comes down to schematics. It comes down to scheme. They were not disciplined. They've been very unprepared. They've been very slow getting out of the gate. And, you had 5 games of Aaron Rodgers, and while he was, don't get me wrong, much better than Zach Wilson in every way, there was still just shades of this lackluster, not creative, very, very undisciplined offense. And I personally, I applaud Woody, Woody not taking any shit anymore. Like it's over. Woody's at home this team for 25 years. It's been 15 since we've had any kind of semblance of success, and Woody's not putting up with it no more. And you know what? I applaud the move. I'm excited for, Ulbrich to come in and hopefully inject some life in them. And I really hope they can figure out this offense now moving forward, and they could just be better prepared and more disciplined.
Yeah, I didn't think this move would come very soon. And I was thinking about the last time a coach was fired this soon in the season. At this point in the season, week 5. I harkened back. I was talking to my fellow friends at Belly Up Sports. Shout out to those guys and gals. I had looked back at some articles I had written. I did a series in 2020 called the overreaction hot seat rankings. So basically I would just go like, all right, coach for life, tepid, getting closer. And then like my last category was toast. And I had forgotten that Bill O'Brien was fired by the Texans in 2020 after week 4 because they had lost so much faith in him running that team when you had Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt. That squad was loaded. And it was very sad. Now Bill O'Brien's coaching Boston College and doing pretty solid job in his first season there after coaching, after being the OC at Alabama for the last couple of seasons. But I texted my dad right after. I said I just wrote him saying Robert Saleh was fired by the Jets, and he sends me his only reaction. Can I tell you his only reaction was a like a doubt emoji with the big eye with the eyebrow going, really? And I wrote back, yep, been confirmed by multiple sources that Robert Saleh was fired. And then he replied back to me. He says, I said, yeah, as of a few minutes ago. He's like, are we happy or sad? And I wrote back, shocked, honestly, because Woody Johnson, you mentioned Woody Johnson has never fired a coach during the season during his ownership tenure. It never happens. And I remember I was talking about it on the OG show beforehand on the No Credentials Required, the OG, about we led off with this news. I wanted to save most of my thoughts for this show.
Right.
But yeah, I think this is the earliest the Jets have fired a head coach since 1975. When they fired a coach a couple of games before the season ended, and Lou Holtz resigned a game before. I think he resigned. He resigned after the 76 season. One game before the season ended, or 1 or 2 games before the season ended, because that's when he went to Arkansas to coach. Hey, Bobby Petrino. Notice it's a familiar theme there. So, as I wrote, I said it was actually really shocking, because we talked about it yesterday. On Sunday, he called me and just asked me what's going on with the Jets. I go, it's coaching. It's not. I mean, yeah, the offense, the players have their part, and there's been clips of different film coming out with the blocking schemes. They're being all wrong. The one tight end, the third string tight end, blowing blocks, ridiculous. But it all falls on coaching. And we can blame. I mean, I see fans out there who are not Jets fans, who are not fans of Aaron Rodgers, saying, "Oh, it's all Rodgers. It's all Aaron Rodgers' fault. This was on Aaron Rodgers. Blah blah blah. He looks washed. He's this. He's that." Do I think he had it in Woody's ear to let him go? Maybe. I mean, we don't know for sure. We won't know for sure until the media asks Rodgers directly if he had anything to do with Saleh being fired. But you have to believe there was some tension between the two before the season started. And I think we saw a glimpse of that in the Patriots. I saw this on social media too. A lot of that was from the Patriots game, where the Jets went up. I think the Jets had gone up 24-3 at that point, which would be the final score. And Saleh's ready to give Rodgers a hug, and Rodgers is like, "Whoa, man." So I don't think that's the that wasn't the moment, but you could tell there's some sort of tension between the two, especially after the Denver game, when Saleh was blaming cadence, he was blaming the weather for their poor performance, and then Rodgers comes out and says, "We just got to be accountable. Like, somebody has to be accountable for all this." And yeah, I take my part in the loss, but like, when your quarterback, and yeah, we could talk about Aaron Rodgers all day. We talk about his weirdness, his ayahuasca trips, the darkness retreats, his stance on the jab. We can talk about that till the cows come home. But he was absolutely right in saying somebody's got to be held accountable on this team, and it all starts from the top. He was absolutely right. And Quincy Williams uttered that same sentiment after the London disaster on Sunday. He said, "Yeah, we got to be accountable. We got to be held accountable." And it just seemed like Saleh wasn't. I think it was too. I know he's known as a player friendly coach. Like, he's a player's coach because he was a player. I get it, but I think he was too afraid to call anybody out in public to in the name of not having their relationship strained. But sometimes you just got to get the guy going by calling him out in public, and he wouldn't do such a thing. And I think that's what happened after Sunday's game. That's what kind of typified this is what made Woody Johnson go, "Okay, something's got to be done. This season's going to be lost if we don't get things going."
You know, that was supposed to be one of our easier stretches of the season, and we're 2-3. You know what I mean? Like, everybody thought we'd be 3-2, 4-1 at this point. Everybody kind of figured we would lose to this 49ers, and then it would be like 4-0 up until Buffalo. And while Minnesota's been a surprise, you know, if you don't start so terrible, that's a winnable game. I mean, we almost saw it. I mean, look what they had to do. I mean, it was almost it was almost the Pittsburgh playoff game of 2009, I want to say. I don't
2010.
remember.
2010.
2010. Yeah, it was almost that completely again. It was a completely terrible start in the first half, and then doing everything in your power to try and claw your way back in the second half, and just being too little too late. Too many mistakes. Just not enough can be done in order to win it. And that's just what it felt like in the Minnesota game. And then the Denver game, I mean, that was one of the flattest looking games you've ever seen.
Yep.
I mean, you came off again riding a super high, beating your hated divisional rival, straight up curb stomping them in every way imaginable. And then you come out against a team that, while is definitely overachieving in Denver, let's be serious, they are very much overachieving right now, especially with that defense. They're still not that great of a team. Like they're not. I'm sorry. Their defense has been excellent, but they're not that great of a team. They're very much overachieving. And you came out looking flat. And I don't care what the web says. I don't care, about any of that. You know what? It's not the first time these guys have played in wet weather. You know what I mean? Like there's ways to get around that. There's ways to figure that out. There's ways to game plan it. And you couldn't do it. And Breece Hall looks lifeless. I mean, he looks lifeless. What does that come back to? Granted, yes, a lot of that responsibility's got to fall on the player. I don't know what the hell's going on in Breece Hall's head, but clearly something is not right. But at the same time, it's your job as coaches to be able to tap into that, fix the issue, and push it forward. And through 5 weeks, Breece Hall's been one of the worst running backs in the NFL. I mean, he has been one of the worst running backs in the NFL on a per touch basis, and it's really not even close. It's not close. And you signed Mike Williams to be your wide receiver too, and I understand he's coming off injury, and I know he didn't get a lot of work in the summer, and that's all well and good, but he looks healthy. Why is he only getting a few targets a game here in the game plan? Where the hell is Malachi Corley? This is the guy you had rated as the 4th wide receiver in the draft, above Brian Thomas, who currently right now looks like the best rookie wide receiver in the NFL, above Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. And yet you can't figure out a way to put him on the field when your entire offense is predicated on Yak. Your entire offense right now is predicated on Yak. You are taking no deep shots. You are having no explosive plays. You are having no scheming open. There is no guys just running wide. Everything is tough. Everything is contested. Everything is difficult. Where the hell is Malachi Corley then to give you some space and some Yak? What is going on? Like, I don't get a lot of the decisions. The game plans look almost like you didn't watch any film of weeks prior on yourself or the team you're facing. And frankly, it's just, it needed to be done. And I hope that Ulbrich comes in, takes a good hard look at the team, makes everybody look deep within themselves, get to the point where you start pulling that talent back out of these guys instead of burying it inside them. And you make some changes to be able to propel this team forward. The defense is doing what it needs to do. Mm-hmm. The linebackers, again, look fantastic. Jamie Sherwood looks like another stud. He looks amazing this season. Quincy Williams is the Quincy Williams we've come to know and love. DJ Reed is playing absolutely lights out. Sauce Gardner is having a down year by Sauce Gardner's standard, and he's still in the top third of the NFL in cornerbacks. As you know what I mean? And that's on a down year. I mean, we're spoiled because he's been this legendary, ultra figure at the cornerback position. So any downslide from that is considering Sauce sucks by anybody that's not a Jets fan. But even we realize, he's not quite there where he was 2 years ago, but he's still having an upper echelon year as a corner. And then you just, you need to get the talent on the D line going. You need to get a little bit more. You need to get a little bit more coming up the middle, between Quinnen and Leonard Taylor and Solomon Thomas. And you need to get Hassan in the goddamn building. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you need to get Hassan in the goddamn building. And, Woody came out and was on a call with Rich Samini today and was just like, dude, Hassan, get in your car, drive down 95, come to the Jets facility. We'll welcome you with open arms. We'll escort you right in the building and let's figure this out.
Yeah.
Like, let's figure that. That came right from the owner. That's from the owner. Like, I don't know what more you want. There's no more posturing between your agent and Joe Douglas. There's no more bullshit going back and forth between your people and our people. Let's squash this. Let's get it done. Tell me what you want. Tell me what we can do, and let's move forward. Let's get this team where it needs to be. And then, of course, we haven't got to it yet, but of course, then you have all the Devontae Adams speculation, where the Jets seem to be the heavy favorites to take him on too. And you got to imagine now, I mean, with Robert Saleh gone, you got to think Joe Douglas's seat is absolutely scalding hot.
Oh, it's white hot. It's white hot.
And now he realizes now. I mean, I'm sure he realized it a little bit before, but now he definitely realizes that this future picks don't matter because they may not be yours. So if you want to stay around and really turn this around for yourself, then mortgage the future at this point. Who cares? At this point? It doesn't mean anything. Your early round picks for the next year don't mean anything for you. You need to get rid of your day 1, day 2 picks in order to make some drastic changes. Is it smart football? Not really. Is it necessary, though, to save your job and to try and bring some hope and life to this stagnant-ass offense that we're dealing with by bringing in Rodgers, arguably probably the best receiver Rodgers ever played with in his career? I would put Devontae above, Jordy Nelson and Donald Driver and Antonio Freeman and all those guys. So, it needs to be done. And now you're going to really feel the sense of urgency. And it'll be a very interesting weekly now leading up to the Monday night game in Buffalo. I hate that we play on Monday night after this too. I hate that. I hate it,
but I figured this way. The Jets are playing the Bills. The Bills let's face it, the Bills should have gotten blown out by the Texans on Sunday. If Nico Collins doesn't exit the game with an injury, with a I believe it was a hamstring injury, that game's a blowout. Because after that game, after that injury, after Nico Collins left the field, that Texans offense slowed down. They were and Buffalo, to their credit, their defense played better. But they're also missing 3 defensive starters, and they were missing one of their better. And the Bills were also missing one of their better offensive weapons, with Khalil Shakir being out. I don't know what his status is for Monday's game, but we'll find out. We'll find out later this week. And I don't know what's going to be the status of Ed Oliver and those other 2 starters.
Right.
And don't forget, Josh Allen may have been concussed in that game. If you watched that,
I didn't see it.
I watched Red Zone. So and they're going back and forth, but the second to last series, he was being taken down. He didn't have he couldn't protect himself. His head hit that turf at Reliant Field. And you could see he took his time getting up from the field. And rather than taking him to concussion protocol, they gave him smelling salts. And it's like, did Terry Pagula have the equipment manager pack the wrong equipment? I know the Sabres were in Prague. Like, that's a hockey move. And then Josh Allen, they called 3 consecutive deep pass plays from their own 3-yard line with less than a minute left. So I think for some reason, for the life of me, maybe it's just speculation, or maybe this is just thought in the back of my head. What's going to be the status of Josh Allen on Monday night? We don't know. So we could see a drastically different Buffalo Bills team on the field Monday night. Aaron Rodgers' status, he's got a low ankle sprain. He should be okay. He should be okay for that game. I think he's going to be juiced up for this game, because he doesn't have to worry about Saleh trying to give him a hug or trying to I wouldn't say mess with his game, but trying to mess up the game plan. But I've been watching news leaks throughout, just kind of just slow drip throughout the day, and trying to figure out the best news rather than just the news that's coming first. We got we got the thing about Saleh being escorted from the building, not being
That
able
happens to
to
everybody.
but that's what I
That
was
happens
getting
to
to.
everybody. Look, I've been
Rich,
fired from jobs before, and I didn't get to do any goodbye meetings. I didn't
yeah,
get to go walk around and shake everybody's hand and tell them I'm going to miss them. Nope. Hey, you're letting you go. Grab whatever you need. We're taking you out of the building right now. Your permission to be here has been revoked. It's that simple. It's a
yeah,
that's literally a non-story. That's just how it goes. Like, I'm
yeah,
sorry. Like, that's just how it goes. It's nothing personal to Robert Saleh. And I'm sure, yeah, it's a little, it's upsetting when it happens because you're like, what? Think I'm gonna do something? I put in my time here, and you think I'm going to sabotage this place in some way, shape, or form. It's just protocol. Like, that's literally what it is. It's just protocol.
no,
It's a
and it was,
non-story, and it was stupid to even come out and do it. To
yeah,
even say anything about it. You know what I mean? It's because it's the Jets. It's because it's New York. It's
yeah,
because LOL Jets, and it's just an
LOL
easy thing
Jets, low hanging fruit.
to
Hmm.
add. Exactly. It was low hanging fruit, just another way to try and get clicks and bring engagement to it. If the Jaguars fire Doug Peterson tomorrow, there will not be a single mention of him being escorted out of the building. Not one.
Nope,
There won't be
nope,
a single one.
not at all, not at all.
You know,
And actually, it's interesting that Trevor Lawrence's performance on Sunday saved his job, basically.
pretty much.
So I'm just kind of going through the news through the afternoon and just checking up and seeing what's going on. People are saying. So I got this. I found this tweet from Connor Hughes, who I think is pretty reliable. He's a pretty reliable reporter for SNY. He's the same at the Athletic. I thought he was pretty. I think he's pretty reliable when it comes to the Jets. And this is what his tweet said. This is tweeted about 5 hours ago. So probably around 3:30, 4 o'clock. From a source, Robert Saleh was never going to fire. So there was also the rumor that Saleh was going to fire Nathaniel Hackett. That was not true at all. We were hoping, but it wasn't
Yeah.
true. It wasn't true. However, he was going to demote his game day responsibilities this week. Saleh made the decision to give play calling to Todd Downing, who was the pass game coordinator, because of the continued issues on offense. He made that final decision Tuesday morning. Then roughly 5 minutes later, he was called into Woody Johnson's office and fired. Based off of Jeff Ulbricht's press conference, it sounds very much like he too is considering giving play calling to Downing. The Jets expressed concern with Hackett this offseason in their attempts to add Arthur Smith as a senior advisor. He would have been the lead offensive voice. However, he took the Steelers' OC job instead. Whew. Okay. So this is very much akin to 2020 when Adam Gase was calling the shots on the offensive side of the ball. And then later in the season,
our internet the internet both cut out on that one. Start your thought over on that one.
Okay. So I was harkening back to 2020 when Adam Gase was calling the plays. And then midway through the season, Dowell Loggins was given the play calling responsibilities, and it still had the same result.
I was hoping I never had to hear those names again.
Sorry, I had to.
But yeah, I just you don't know. I think Buffalo Jet fans said it in a way where I think it was like handing the stuff over to Downing was like changing your shirt because you shit your pants.
Yeah.
Like
I heard that one in a while.
Yeah. And like that seems to be a perfect way to do. Look, we don't know what we have in Todd Downing. It doesn't sound like it's going to inspire a lot of faith, with the change, but I mean with the way Hackett's been and the way this run game is, I don't see how it gets that much worse really at this point. I mean, because the run blocking, the only way it gets worse is if the pass blocking comes down to the run blocking's level. And all of a sudden, as good of a pass blocking team as we are, we're not anymore. And basically, we're only really good on the interior. Tyron Smith has been not great so far through 5 games. And Olu Fashanu is very much not a right tackle.
No,
he's not a right tackle. So hopefully, I think we get Morgan Moses back this week, which will be a nice should be a nice setup for us and should help save Rodgers a little bit more because Moses is definitely better at a right tackle than Fashanu is. I think Fashanu is strictly a pure left. So, and these 2 weeks have proven it. And God, man, I really just hope that a fire gets lit under Brees's ass and he finds that second gear we haven't seen yet. And they find those and they can make those creases that a truck can run through. And we see that 50, 60, 70, 80 yard run that, can flip the game on its head. And damn it, man, I want to see some turnovers that result in scores for the defense. Like, oh my God, I know I'm getting a little off topic here, but like literally Sam Darnold flicked Quincy Williams and he fell.
Yeah.
And it was so infuriating. It's so infuriating. Like, I don't understand how you fell. Like, I don't get it. Like, you picked that ball up so clean. It was high. You weren't even really bent over to get it. And Sam Darnold was like this. And you fell over. Though, that was the game. That was the game. I literally looked at my wife and I was like, I promise you that's going to bite us in the ass. Because it's the Jets. So I promise you that's going to bite us in the ass. And it did. And it did.
Between that and that inexplicable, questionable 4th and 1 call when you're 4th and 1 inside
in the
almost
pistol
inside the Vikings 20 in a pistol formation. That should be illegal. That should be illegal.
Where Braylon Allen is 9 yards back. He's 8 yards. Braylon Allen in the pistol formation is 8 yards back. Yeah. In the pistol formation. What again? This can't happen anymore. This can't happen anymore. Like, my daughter could have called a better play.
I'm sure she could have. And I'm sure she would have jumped at the chance.
Yeah. She would be like, oh, that one works. They're real close up to the line of scrimmage. Let's try that. Okay, baby. Let's put that one in. Why don't you whisper it into Rodgers' ear?
Yeah. You can't put in Tyrod Taylor for a quarterback sneak. He's a pretty big boy. Put him in the lineup. Try to get him a quarterback sneak. What are we doing?
Run some sort of like misdirection. Where's the jet? I haven't seen a single jet sweep this year at all. There hasn't been one jet sweep. There hasn't been one quick hand. I think there's been one quick handoff to Garrett Wilson, and of course it got stuffed. I think it was in week 2, if I'm not mistaken. There's been nothing. There's been nothing. This is the most bland, basic shit offense, and I am sick of it. You are wasting Aaron Rodgers. You are wasting year 3 of Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson. You know what I mean? Like, you're wasting our year with Tyron Smith. You're wasting the last year we have of AVT before he needs to get paid. Like, it's infuriating, man. It is infuriating. And I mean, look, I don't know what Downing's truly going to bring. Again, we don't even know if it's going to happen or not this week or when or maybe or if or wherever it comes, whenever it comes down. But I just hope that they all very much look within themselves and start looking at the film and make some very serious changes. Yeah. And that they come out completely different.
You got 5 days to figure it out.
You had 10. You had 10 to figure out Minnesota. And this is how and this is how you came out and looked.
They had 10 to figure out Denver. And then another.
I'm sorry, that's 7. What I meant. Yes, they had 7. They had 10 to figure out Denver, and look at what came out. So the amount of days don't mean anything when it comes to the Jets, because it seems like the more days they have to prepare, the more they come up with with more garbage. I almost kind of want them to play. I almost kind of wish the game again was this Thursday, so that they would be forced in their hand to rush something together, and it would just be like, you know what? I don't even know what to do. Let's just go balls out. Let's just go balls to the wall.
Look, my problem is that the one thing I haven't seen is any deep shots. I haven't seen them do many deep shots with Garrett Wilson. You have speed. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Malachi Corley, who's one of the, I believe he was one of the fastest receivers. He was number 1 on their draft board and for wide receivers. So why aren't you utilizing some of the speed you have? Xavier Gibson, use some of the speed that you currently have. Braylon Allen ran a 4.340, 4.440.
No, he was 4.540. Braylon Allen was a 4.5. But he's 4'5" at 230 pounds, so let's,
right.
That's
Like,
fast as shit
yeah,
for someone of that size.
You've got speed. Joe Douglas said it himself before the 2021, 2022 draft. He said, speed builds pressure, pressure breaks pipes. The one is kind of offense for the last 3 seasons. Going into 4, use the speed you have. Use it. Don't just fiddle fritz around and do all these nonsensical plays that make no sense where the wide receiver's not in the right spot where he should be cutting, or the third string tight end is blowing his blocking assignment, or your O-line's getting absolutely crushed by the other line, by the defensive line.
Yeah.
Figure this out.
There's
Call
a lot.
people out if you have to.
There's so much to do. I mean, there's so much to do. It really is debilitating. We try not to get our hopes too far up, especially after last year where we were all riding so high just to have, our dream shot out 4 plays into the season. So I was doing everything in my power to not, to try and temper expectations and, see what kind of product came out on the field. And it got more and more difficult as you heard more and more of the training camp reports where Rodgers and Garrett were unbeatable and we're going to be an insane duo. And Breece Hall looked tremendous. And then you came out, got your faces stomped in by the 49ers week 1.
We expected that.
Right. But then what the hell happened? Then what the hell happened? You've theoretically only had one good game. You've really only had one good game. And obviously that was against the Patriots.
This is one part of me is all right. That has to think this is one of the reasons why Saleh got fired, because they beat New England on a Thursday night. His head got big, then he just got lazy. But it just seems to be a pattern for the last 4 seasons too. You started off with 4 wins. Okay, you started that's your rookies. That's your first year as a head coach. You got a grace period to figure it out. Then you go to 7 games. But that season, you had a chance. You had a chance to win the division because you were coming off a great game against Buffalo with Zach Wilson as your quarterback. Of all people, he was playing relatively well then. And then all of a sudden the bye week and the downward spiral started. And you finished 7-10. The next season, your best quarterback, you're the guy you bring in to get you to believe that he can do this. 4 plays in, there goes his Achilles. And he's kind of going to ride the wave. Had another chance to pick things up and possibly spoil things and get into a wild card. December comes. It's the spiral happens again. So now 5 games into this season, you get the 3 games in 10 days. You get 2 out of 3. Awesome. Then you have 10 days off, and you come out flat against a Denver team, like you said, Dan. Their defense is impressive, but their offense is garbage. At least in that game, and at least before Sunday's game against the Raiders, but that's the Raiders. It's another story. And you crap the bed. And then you go to London to face a better than expected Vikings team who you allow a defensive touchdown, and then you try to go for it on a 4th and 1, but you line up in a pistol formation, which makes no sense at all. You're down to 17-0 hole you got to crawl out of, and you almost win the game, but unfortunately, another pick. So I think Saleh was just kind of coasting along, figuring, all right, I've got an all-pro quarterback. He hope to help me get over the hump. I take no accountability. I take no responsibility for my actions. And then 5 games into the season, the owner finally, and I got a comment here from my buddy Staniel Smooth, great guy. He says, let's be honest, Woody Johnson is a major problem here. The foundation, top to bottom, is the problem. I'm going to go on the defense of Woody Johnson and say I'm glad he finally grew a pair of balls and did what he needed to do to save this season, because this is definitely on him. He can't fire himself. But at the same time, you got to take a look at the resume of Robert Saleh as a head coach from 2021 all the way to 5 games into the season. You had to do something. This had to be done. And I'm shocked that it happened, but at the same time, good. Maybe you allow yourself a fresh start with somebody who actually, and Jeff Ulbrich, I mentioned it in the OG show, he's not only popular with the defense, he's also popular with the offense too. They absolutely love Jeff Ulbrich. And I was catching on, I think it was Gotham City Jets, who posted a picture of Jeff Ulbrich as a 49er as a linebacker. Looks like one of the guys from the Legion of Doom of the WWE. Had the mohawk, the tattoos running down. I'm like, this guy.
That's an epic picture.
Great picture. So yes, it's 5 games into his season. Maybe this should have happened at the end of last season. But I'm happy this happened now rather than at the end of the season, where it's another lost season. You lost out on the chance or the window is starting to close, and it's closing fast, because this defense can only do so much to win you games, but your offense can't do anything because your coach refuses to take any accountability and any responsibility for trying to win games. And I think this had to be done.
I mean, yeah, it had to be done. Look, I mean, Woody Johnson has not been the great owner. Let's be serious. No. Woody Johnson has not been a great owner.
Neither of them have been great owners.
I think everybody that's, followed the Jets would certainly agree, that he has tried way too hard to continually put his thumb on this team and not let the football guys run it. But you know what? This is one of those times where I'm not gonna criticize him. Your expectations this season are sky high. There is no excuse. You are in year 6 now of Joe Douglas on his 6-year plan. I think, right? 6 year, 5th year, 6th year. You're right there.
5.5.
5. Oh, close enough. So you're into the Joe. Joe Douglas said he needed 3 years to completely rid the stink of Gase off this team and put his own stamp on it. That included hiring Robert Saleh and drafting Zach Wilson, which you've clearly seen were not good decisions. We were all very excited with Saleh, the hire. Saleh was clearly the number 1 coaching candidate that year coming out. It was not even close, and the Jets got him, and we thought our fortune had changed. And yet somehow the Jets still seem to screw up hiring the best coaching candidate of a cycle. And now what you have to wonder is, if Aaron Rodgers wants to play again, who's going to want to come here to be the head coach? Because they're not going to be able to pick their quarterback. The Jets are, I guess a lot depends on where they're picking. But I mean, if the Jets are terrible, maybe they can get, someone like a Cam Ward or a Jalen Milroe or something like that for someone to groom behind Aaron Rodgers. But I mean, if this firing fixes some issues and it propels the Jets into some winning statuses and we make the playoffs, we're picking at 24-25. And if Aaron Rodgers comes back, there's not going to be any quality head coaching candidates that are going to want to come here. Like, we're not going to get the Ben Johnsons of the world. We're not going to get, any of those guys, to the Todd Monkins. We're not going to get them because they're not going to be interested. So now we have another issue that I don't think anybody's talking about, is we either have to keep Jeff Ulbrich around, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I mean, Jeff Ulbrich is an excellent defensive coordinator. He's beloved by everybody in the building by all accounts. And his defense is amazing. And, while Saleh gets a lot of the credit for that, so does Ulbrich, but he was going to be a hot head coaching candidate name this year, because of how well the defense plays. So now he's just auditioning for us and 31 other teams that may need a coach. So if Aaron Rodgers wants to play another season, it's almost like you're kind of forced to give Jeff Ulbrich another year to see if it works, because if it works, then phenomenal. But if it doesn't, you're going to have to pick from the scratch. You're going to lose your defensive coordinator, who's excellent at what he does, to another team's probably going to hire him for a head coaching job. And then you're going to have to take the scrap heaps on what's left over, or the guys that aren't quite ready and there yet for a head coaching job to try and get someone in to come in with Aaron Rodgers. And it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. You're going to get someone like Alex Van Pelt. Like, that's what it's going to be. You're going to get someone like Alex Van Pelt that's interviewed for head coaching jobs multiple times and hasn't gotten any. Why? No idea. But clearly there's something he's missing in all his interviews that he's done, where no one just seems to give faith in him to hand the reins to the team to him. And the Jets are almost going to be forced to do that because, again, you need someone with history with Aaron Rodgers, for while he's here. So it's a very – I don't know what's going to happen here. And, again, if Ulbrich, if the Jets – if this is kind of the Jets we're going to get the rest of the season, they're going to end again as a 7-win team. And then what are we stuck with then? Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's so hard to try and extrapolate and contemplate all the different scenarios at this point, because it literally just happened today. And there's so many ways that this can go moving forward that it's just borderline impossible. Like, in another month, let's see how this is going, and we can kind of come back to being like, all right, Ulbrich's definitely not going to be the guy. We're going through the motions. Let's start talking about who we're probably going to have to go after and go from there. Or it's probably something like, dude, Jeff Ulbrich's incredible. We certainly have a shot at the playoffs. Maybe they can do more, but does this buy us another year of Aaron Rodgers or not? And that's what I think a lot of the talk is going to be about moving forward, is with this now, is do we still have more Aaron Rodgers, or is literally this going to be it? And It's too early to tell. Nobody knows. Yeah.
And I mentioned this in the OG show. I've been watching /listening to Jake Asman during he had like almost 5 hours of stream.
I know, I saw that today. I haven't had a chance to watch anything, but yeah,
early from like 10 o'clock until about 3 o'clock.
That's
was just
crazy.
Yeah, if you had Joe Beningo, and he had can't remember his name, Will
Parkinson.
Like, in that time, and he did calls, he had super chats, everything. I had my hats off to the dude. I sent him a $10 super chat to give himself some Chipotle after the show. Hopefully after the show, he'll get that in there. But there are people writing in, oh, we need to bring Rex Ryan back. We need to bring in Bill Belichick. We need to bring in this coach. We need to bring in that coach. All right. First of all, no. First off, no to Rex Ryan. I don't want to retread. Second of all, Bill Belichick hates Woody Johnson's guts still 25 years later. And when he was coach of the Patriots, he took every opportunity he had to stick it to the Jets whenever he played the Jets. And he had a winning record against them, although his last loss in the as an NFL coach before in the last season was to the Jets. And it'll be funny if full circle, like Woody Johnson and Bill Belichick have a beer together, or a gin, I guess, gin and tonic, and they work things out. That's in another universe. That's in a universe I don't see playing.
I don't want it.
One.
I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want Bill Belichick. I want nothing to do with coming to the New York Jets. I don't want him as a head coach. I don't want him as an advisor. I don't want him talking about the New York Jets. I want nothing to do with Bill Belichick. Absolutely nothing.
No, and I think he's having too much fun with his old buddy Matt Patricia and his girlfriend and all these media and inside the NFL, realizing post-retirement, okay, maybe post-retirement isn't bad. I don't have to do head coaching anymore. I got multiple media streams and a hot girlfriend. I'm good to go.
I get paid just as much for way less work and way less stress.
Yeah.
Why not?
Same thing
Why
with Rex
not?
Ryan. Same thing with Rex Ryan. I think he gets paid a lot more for a lot less stress. And a lot of these former NFL coaches turn analysts like a Bill Cowher or like a John. I mean, God forbid, John Gruden becomes a head coach of the New York Jets. But before
Nah,
we even begin
Gruden can't come back to the NFL after his
he's
scandal.
suing the NFL. He's suing. That's why,
Yeah.
because he's suing the NFL. He's got a lawsuit against the NFL. So before Woody opens his checkbook to find out who the next head coach of the Jets is going to be, let's just play this. Let's just play this out. Let's play the rest of the season out. The next 3 games are winnable games. They got the Bills on Monday night. They're at the Steelers, who are coming back down to earth, and they get the Patriots, who we knew were going to be awful. So the next 3 games are winnable. Let's just see what happens for the rest of the season. Look, I haven't had to drink any hard seltzers so far this season.
Yeah.
Do I want that trend to continue? No.
And it doesn't look like you will be.
Hey, look, all they need, they just need 3 touchdowns. They need 21 points. The defense can do the rest, and it'll be all right. They just can't fall behind. They just can't get off the slow starts like they've done throughout the Robert Saleh era. They can't. They can't afford it anymore.
I'm ready. I want to see some game-changing explosive plays. It's fun watching the chain moving offense. It's fun watching, the steady, moving down the field and everything like that. But at the same time, it's stagnant. It's boring. And the defense is going to come in on you if you can't surprise them and beat them deep and take advantage of space. And right now they have no shot at doing that with the way things are being ran. So, I mean, it's just we're at a serious crossroads, and not one I thought we'd be at so early in the season. I mean, if it was going to happen, I kind of figured it was going to be somewhere closer to 5, week 9 and 10, where we'd be like 500. And it's like, dude, we've lost a couple of games we shouldn't have, which has happened this year already. And it's just like they're underachieving. What do we do? But I mean, I never thought of Robert Saleh not making it through the season unless they were atrociously bad by their bye week, which they haven't been. Let's be serious. No. They haven't been atrociously bad, but you could just tell like Woody's patience ran thin. Like you're just, the Denver game. I think the Denver game really was a shocker as to how unprepared they look. And then you go to London, where Woody's got a whole bunch of people he knows, and then you come out with that kind of flatness and that game plan. And like, I mean, I almost kind of wish we could have seen some reactions to Woody Johnson in the box in London during the game to kind of see where his face was, because I imagine it had to be, he had to be just heated.
Oh, heated. For sure.
But and at the same time too, it's just we're 150 yard field goal and one Aaron Rodgers deep shot to Garrett Wilson away from being 4-1. So this could be a completely different narrative we have right now, where the Jets could be 4-1 because Greg Zuerlein hits the 50-yarder and Aaron Rodgers doesn't overthrow Garrett Wilson in Minnesota. So
or underthrow Mike Williams.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that it's just literally those 2 plays could have the Jets being 2-3 or 4-1, and Robert Saleh probably safe for the rest of the season. Granted, getting rightfully criticized, but at the same time, probably safe for the season because he has so much leeway now until he hits even 500, and he couldn't get it done. And I don't know. We're just gonna have to see what kind of team comes out for Jeff Ulbrich. We're gonna have to see what kind of changes get made. But usually historically, when a team makes a change in season, they win more often than they lose in the NFL.
Yeah. Antonio Pierce last season, went 4-4, went 4-4.
Exactly. They win more than they win the first game more often than they lose when a head coaching change happens. So, there's got to be some renewed energy. There's got to be accountability happening this week. I imagine Jets Drive is not going to be one of the more pleasant places to be in the NFL world this next week, because Jeff Ulbrich's going to come down with with just, the wrath of 1,000 suns here, getting on these guys and getting them to live up to their potential and doing what he can do to kind of break past whatever the hell has been going on in the offense and so forth. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what comes from this. Again, Saleh did some very good things. Saleh did some very good things. Saleh did some very not good things. And unfortunately, he just could never quite get over the hump. And, I think we kind of, I'm just glad it happened now when there's a chance to right the ship, before it's too fucking late.
Yeah. And I'm glad it happened when the Jets are 2-3 and not 7-10, missing in the playoffs again, and then having to
and then you're cleaning house. I mean, let's be serious. You're cleaning house at that point. Joe Douglas is gone. The only person that would be able to survive that would probably be Brant Boyer, because he's a cockroach that just, can't be blown up by a nuclear bomb. He survives whatever gets thrown at him with the New York Jets. Brant Boyer probably survives, and arguably you could say Jeff Ulbrich deserves it. Aaron White-Cotton, deserves it. Who's the DB coach? Tony Odom. The whole defensive side they would deserve to stay put. Like, the whole defensive side, they would all deserve to be able to keep their jobs, but everybody on offense would be gone. And I mean, gone.
They'll pull Woody Johnson will pull a George Halas circa 1981, 82, 83. And the Jets defense will write a letter saying, "Hey, we want to keep Jeff Ulbrich." Like the Bears did Buddy Ryan back in the day before they hired Mike Ditka, and they wound up winning a Super Bowl a few years later. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, we can see it. But right now we focus on Buffalo. We'll focus up on Buffalo, but we'll take the one commercial break we have. When we come back, we'll actually talk about that game against Buffalo. So why don't you go ahead and stay tuned for more Victory Monday on No Credentials Required.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, we can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
That's right, folks. SeatGeek is one of the premier sponsors at Belly Up Sports. So, get the NHL just started. Dan's got the game in the background. I believe it's 6-2 Panthers near the middle of the third period. But you've also got Major League Baseball playoffs. If you care to, NBA, college sports, college football, it's rare. It's good up in gear, but it's not only just sports you can check out. You can also check out musicals, concerts. Your favorite bands coming to town, favorite musicians coming to town, concerts, musicals, comedy acts, anything that requires a box office ticket at the arena. Go to SeatGeek.com, use their pricing tool to get the best available price for your budget, and also use promo code BellyUpSports at checkout. You save $20 off your order of $50 or more by using promo code BellyUpSports. So again, SeatGeek.com, promo code BellyUpSports at checkout. You get $20 off your order of $50 or more. All right, we're going to touch briefly on about Monday night. We know what happened today, but it's on to Monday night, Buffalo Bills. This could be a very interesting game because I think the Jets going to be fired up. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. Jeff Ulbrich's now head coach. And they're facing a Buffalo Bills team that started off very hot. Granted, it was against three absolutely atrocious teams, such as, God bless you, the Miami Dolphins, the Arizona Cardinals, who aren't atrocious, but hey, they beat the 49ers on Sunday. And they beat, I forgot who else they beat. I want to say, who else did they beat? Let's do some real-time research.
Goodness, we just can't get our internet right tonight.
The Jaguars. They absolutely stomped the Jaguars on a Monday night, and then they ran into the Ravens and got stomped by them. Then they ran into the Texans and they had a loss, which we talked about on the OG show. But this is a very interesting game in that we don't know what the status is of Josh Allen. I think he plays, but they've got a number of starters who are out or questionable. Ed Oliver, questionable. Khalil Shakir, questionable. Taron Johnson, questionable. Justin Johnson, also questionable. Buffalo's going to beat up, and we don't know what the status of Josh Allen is. He's not listed on the injury report currently on ESPN. As of today, again, I mentioned those 4 names. They're questionable for Monday night's game. Josh Allen's not on the list, but judging from what I saw on Sunday, I have to think he's in concussion protocol, and that might be a game changer because we might see Mitchell Trubisky come out to play for the Buffalo Bills on Monday night, facing probably Aaron Rodgers, because we know we can suffer a low ankle sprain in Thursday and Sunday's game. It sounds like he's going to be okay for Monday's game. But Dan, I mean, Ulbricht's hiring, Saleh's firing aside, let's talk about Monday night. What's your thoughts on Monday nights on a Tuesday?
I haven't seen anything on Michael Carter II. I haven't seen any injury designation on what he's going on, because I don't think he ever returned to Minnesota when he went down early in the first quarter. So I'm interested to see whether he's what his status is and whether he's going to be playing or not for the Jets. Obviously, that a lot of the injury issues that Buffalo's having right now, they have the extra day to get healthy. So I guess we'll see, who's around for that and who's not. But you're going to have obviously it's a very high tense divisional game. There's still one game out. I mean, this is for first place in the division, even after everything. You're still going for first place in the division here with a victory. You'll be 2-0 in the division if you can pull this off. So even though you'll be 3-3, you're 2-0 in the AFC East, which would be incredibly helpful at moving towards a playoff spot, as things get tighter and tighter down the stretch. And, I know a lot of the Jets players were shocked in regards to everything that happened today. And there may be some questions to figure out, how does this fix the offense or anything like that. But usually, again, what we see when a team does something drastic like this is we see a renewed energy, a renewed fire underneath them. And I expect, that especially on the offensive side of the ball, there should be some serious differences to what we've been looking at these past 5 games. I certainly hope to see more deception. I certainly hope to see more up tempo. I certainly hope to see more deep shots, some jet sweeps, some scheming.
Speed.
And that's kind of where I'm at with this. I don't have any quandaries on the defense. Josh Allen statistically usually doesn't play very well against the Jets. It's usually the Jets beating themselves when they play against Buffalo for the most part. So let's hope that this grounds them, this disciplines them. We limit the mistakes, we limit the false starts, we limit the holdings, we limit the stupid pass interference calls, and we just go out there and we play a hard fought, clean game against your division rival, and you come away with a W. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I truly don't know what to expect. I just know what I hope for. And that's pretty much it. I just hope to see a not flat, very disciplined, organized team that seems to have an identity.
Yeah, and this is definitely the game to come out. Like we saw last year when the Raiders fired Josh McDaniels, they promote Pierce, Antonio Pierce, to head coach. and the first game they come out with an inspired effort against who did they play? Oh, they played the Jets on Sunday night and they beat them. Because the offense couldn't do anything and the defense, even again, another great defensive effort spoiled by atrocious play on the offense. But this is a new team, I think, and like you said, Dan, the Jets got to come out firing on all cylinders on offense, especially on defense. They'll be fine on the defensive side, but on offense, they got to come out firing, and they got to establish the run. And they got to do it against a wounded Bills team. Like I mentioned those names, all questionable on the defensive side of the ball, including Ed Oliver on the edge. So it's going to be interesting to see if those guys are going to play on Sunday or Monday night. Again, same with Khalil Shakir, who had been arguably their best offensive weapon the first 3 weeks of the season. So it's definitely going to be a back and forth struggle. And this is first place is on the line. First place is on the line. You got a new head coach. Let's see what this offense can do. Let's see if they can have do some creativity, be more creative with a new. If the rumors are true, we're going to have a new play caller on the offense, or heck, maybe even have Aaron Rodgers call plays in the huddle plays, which would be which I think would be a game changer. That's just my opinion. Let's see what the offense can do. Let's see if the line can pass block better. Let's see if the line can get some push against this Bills defense. Let's see if we can have some creativity. Like I said, jet sweeps, use their speed, take some deep shots. Don't be afraid to take deep shots. We haven't seen a lot of that this year. Let's see if this Jets offense can be creative with a new leader, with a new direction, and hopefully come up with a W, because a W would mean first place in the division. They'd be 2-0 in the AFC East. That's huge. That's huge with 4 games remaining. And again, I think the next 3 games are winnable, including this one. You get to 5-3 when you go up against Houston on Halloween, which will be a really good game. Yeah. And then the rest of the season, you got Arizona, Indianapolis, then a bye. Then you have the remaining games in your division. You still got to play Miami twice. Still got to play. Oh, I forgot. No, I forgot. They also have to play. Yeah, they play the Patriots. They're at the Patriots after the Houston game. So if they can, but it all starts on Monday. It all starts on Monday. Let's see if we have a new identity on offense. Let's keep the pedal to the metal on defense against Buffalo. And remember, the last 2 times Josh Allen has played at MetLife, he has not been good. It's not been good at all. And it all goes back to the 2023 game when in that miracle game, I was going to say a miracle game, but yeah, the miracle game on Monday night with the last year after Aaron Rodgers went down and the kickoff return by Xavier Gibson, they forced 4 turnovers out of Josh Allen. In the last couple of times before, he hasn't played good, and he does not play good in MetLife Stadium. But again, I just have to wonder if he was concussed in that game against Houston, because he just didn't look the same. The final series of the game where they decided to go 3. They decided to go 3 with 3 deep passes deep in their own end, in their own 3-yard line, where they just run up the clock. I don't know if it's on Allen or if it's on game management or if it's a little bit of each. But like I said, the last couple of times Josh Allen has played at MetLife Stadium against this Jet squad, it has not been a good result. And the defense is going to come out and they're going to do their thing. I think the offense is going to come out and be inspired. I had to think this would have to be a W for the Jets.
I want to say that it feels like it's going to be a W. It feels like it should be a W with the situation going on with the team and everything around it, and how, again, they usually play Buffalo when they're home in New Jersey. I just hope the lights aren't too big for them after everything that's gone on right now. Mm-hmm. So That's I hope Ulbrich is ready and up to the challenge, and that in these few days that he's able to really put his stamp on the changes he's want to make for the rest of the season. Have they announced who the DC is going to be in his absence, or how that's handled yet? Have they said anything? I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen anything either, but I have a feeling it'll definitely be within staff, but I don't know who.
Yeah, I mean that's without question. But I mean we don't know if it's going to be Tony Oden or Aaron Whitecotton or
right.
Who I don't think it'd be. I'd probably be one of those two guys. I don't think any of the other coaches have a chance at it. Probably Tony Oden, if I had to take a guess, will probably be our DC moving forward. And good for him, well deserved for as good as he's been as a DB coach. So, yeah, I really want to see. I really just want to see some serious schematic differences that start to open the field up, space the defense out, bring out some explosive plays, and just show another level that this offense can be, and just get to the level we all know that it can be. I mean, we were all hoping, we all knew what was possible with Aaron Rodgers and these skill players at home, in this offense could be. And, we were all hoping that we would see the level up from that by this point. Now we just have to hope we can get to the level we know that can be, and then hopefully you can build up from there. So I expect this is probably going to be a close game. I expect, knowing how this game has gone, there's probably at least a couple turnovers apiece for both teams here. It's probably going to be a tight one. I'm putting this probably 23-21 Jets.
Yeah, I mean, I just went back to look at the stats. The last two games that Josh Allen has played against the Jets at MetLife Stadium, 5 interceptions, a fumble lost, 1 touchdown, 1 passing touchdown.
Yeah. I have a feeling they're gonna get there's gonna be some sort of oddball touchdown. There's gonna be like a special teams or a defensive touchdown for Buffalo in this game. I just have a feeling, and it'll be like they'll probably kick a couple field goals and then hit a 2-point conversion or something like that later on, or miss something later in the game, and that's how they'll end up running into like a 23-20, 23-21 game for the Jets. And I just don't see either team blowing the other out. It just seems like it's going to be a tight. I just see like it's going to be a tight game. But I think the Jets really realize what's at stake right now, and everybody knows what's at stake right now. And who knows? Maybe they have Devontae Adams ready in the building by the time this game comes about too. So we'll just have to see.
Yep. Well, it remains to be seen on Monday. So in the meantime, we're going to get out of here. But in the meantime, give us a follow on social media, facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, Twitter, Instagram, and scarcely used TikTok @NoCredsREQ, youtube.com/@NoCredsREQ. And on the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on your preferred podcast platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Pandora, and get your notifications. Hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube. That way when either the OG No Credentials Required podcast is up, or the Victory Monday podcast where we talk about all things New York Jets is up. And coming soon to No Credentials Required family, we're going to talk about some Metro New York hockey. So stay tuned for the announcement for that. Still in the works. We're going to hopefully start recording very, very soon. But in the meantime, we're going to get out of here. Thanks again for joining us on Victory Monday, or in this case, not Victory Monday, from No Credentials Required. We are presented by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. For Dan Goldstein, I'm Ryan McCarthy. We'll talk to you again very, very soon. Hopefully on a more upbeat note. But in the meantime, we'll talk to you again very, very soon.
Fins are trash.
So are the Pats.
Yeah.
Oh, we suck again.